Hello everyone, my name is Puja Gupta, teacher trainee from B.Ed college, second semester, and my method paper is political science. And today I'll be talking about one very important article. But before that, let's talk about constitution first. Okay? So what is constitution? A constitution in simple word means rule book of India. It is a sovereign law of the land. There is also a saying that no one can go above the constitution, even if it's like a president or a citizen. Everyone has to work under the constitution. No one can go beyond the constitution. So, constitution is the supreme and the ultimate source of power, authority and legitimacy of our country. Now the question comes, is our constitution is rigid or absolute in nature, or is there any way to make some changes in it? Now, answering to that, our constitution is not completely and absolute in nature, but it is partly flexible also. So it is because of that only there is an way to make some changes in it. Now here comes that important article, that is Article 368, the amendment of the Constitution. Now what is amendment of the Constitution? Now amendment in simple words means changing the Constitution. Now change can be anything. It could be like deleting some portion. It could be adding some portion in the constitution. Okay. Now, again, some question comes. Who, how, and why? Who has the power to amend the constitution? A question comes. So, answering to that, it is the parliament. Parliament has given the power to amend the constitution of India. So now what is parliament again? Parliament means Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha and the president of our India. So it is important to be remembered that it is not the state government, neither the panchayats, but only the parliament of our India has the power to amend the constitution. Okay. Now let's go to how they are going to do so. So first, a bill has to be introduced in either of the houses of the parliament. Now there is no obligations like that of the money bill of our India, which has to be introduced in the Lok Sabha only. But in the case of the amendment, the bill can be introduced in either of the houses. That means it can be introduced in Rajya Sabha or in Lok Sabha. Okay. Now after introduction, there will be going to be some debate and discussion, and after securing majority of votes, if the bill is passed in both the houses, then that bill is going to be sent directly to the president for his assent. And if the president gives his final assent to the bill, that bill becomes an act or an amendment. Okay? I hope I am making my points clear to you all. Now let's go to the question why. Why we have Article 368 in our constitution. Okay, so this is kind of historical. This question also has some historical background also. So let me take you all in the history for some moment. So as we all remember that our India got independence in the year 1947, and from that day only our constitutional makers get indulged in making of our constitution for our independent country. So So in 1949, they completed their work, and in 1950, our constitution came into an effect. Okay? So imagine, from 1950 to 2020, there is a long gap. So, what my point is that our makers were aware of the fact that the things are not going to remain same forever. So, in order to make our constitution effective and relative for all the time, they added the provision in our constitution while adding 368 in our constitution. Okay? So 368 article is nothing but an important constitutional method by which our citizens, our lawmakers can have a way, a constitutional way, to fulfill all the needs and demands of the people. So it is like a very genuine method actually. If I have to give an example, then I will say, let's talk about reservation, the very controversial issue, but then let's talk about it. So from the Independence Day only, we had some provisions about ST and SC. Then later in 90s, we had some provisions for OBCs. And recently, only in the 2019, we also added some provisions for the general category also, for the weaker sections of the general category also. So what I'm trying to say is that for the changing demands, for the need of the time, there is some way, constitutional way in our constitution itself for meeting all the needs and demands of the people. There should not be any discontentment among the people. Even if there is, there should be a constitutional proper method so that other kinds of mean could be avoided. So I hope in the last, I would like to say that this is the first time I'm doing all this. I hope I'm making justice to my topic. And lastly, so far there are 104 amendments in our constitution, and so there are obviously going to be some more amendment in the future also. But that time, what I want you all to remember is that Article 368 is the cause for each and every amendment of our constitution. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.